creators, how are you guys? It's great to hang out with you again for another Video Creators podcast where we are going to talk specifically to those of you guys who are growing a business on your YouTube channel. You already have this business going and you're using YouTube as a way of monetizing, of growing, of generating leads for your business. There's a lot of common mistakes and a lot of common myths, things that more business creator person believes and really dives into and commits to that really just kind of actually isn't what you need to be doing. It's actually those things are probably holding you back and making it harder for you to grow. So if you are in that category, you're a business creator, you're growing on YouTube in order to grow your business, this is exactly the podcast episode for you. We're going to dive into all those things and we're going to correct the things that you're doing wrong and then give you practical ideas and tips and suggestions and ideas for how to fix those things and do them correctly going forward so you gain momentum, you grow your channel, you get more subscribers, generate more leads, grow the business, and ultimately reach more people and change their lives, which is what we're here for most. So I'm really excited to dive into that with you guys here today. And I'm especially excited to do that because we're going to dive in with a friend of mine, Mr. Dane Golden. Hey, Dane, how are you?
I'm doing great, Tim. Great to be here.
It is so good to see you again. For those of you guys who don't know, Dane and I go way back. Like, how far back, Dane? I don't even know. Like,
there were dinosaurs and sea slugs roaming the earth.
I remember I know we've connected before, but the first time that I remember that we actually sat down and had a conversation was actually at VidCon, maybe 20, let's see, no, it wasn't
probably 2012.
Was it? About 8 years ago now? I think
but
that sounds about right.
Before that,
Rio Summit, right?
Could have been.
Yeah. It was a long time ago.
Even before that, I was running a YouTube channel so I'd come from live streaming and podcasting for a tech podcasting company. And I was doing it. I was working for an ad agency on a very big ad account. I can't say what this ad account is, but it rhymes with MeBay. And what I was doing it very, very badly. And it was a big account that they had asked me to help on. And I said, I really got to figure this YouTube thing out. And I started watching Real SEO and you on Real SEO.
Yeah, prior to Video Creators.
And I started figuring it out. Yeah. And I dedicated my professional life to help businesses do better on YouTube.
So what are you up to these days? I mean, you've been around YouTube and business for a long time, online content creators. What are you up to? The kind of set the context for what we're going to talk about here.
Okay, just really shortly, people may know me from Hey.com. We sold that recently, and we sort of split into two companies now. VidUp is sort of the evolution of Hey.com, but we also started this new business that I'm talking about today called VidTarget, which is how you do ads in a targeted way on YouTube, and also how you integrate that with your organic, meaning non-paid, discoverable, and community videos, which is what you emphasize.
Yeah. So Dane, for those of you guys who don't know, Dane used to help us out here at Video Creators for a lot of our client work. So he's one of the people that I know and trust to even work with some of our clients. And we're very thankful for Dane when he jumped in and helped us out in a pinch when the business was growing faster than we could keep up with. And so Dane's like one of the good guys on YouTube who knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to this niche we're about to talk about today, which is the business side. Like Dane's, that's his sweet spot. That's his bread and butter, is how do you use YouTube to grow your business? And he does that all day, every day with people, and now helping them in a more scalable way through vidtarget.io. So if you guys want to check it out, link to that down in the show notes. And we're going to dive into that here in a second. Those of you guys who are in the live chat, welcome. Good to see you guys. Modern Day Tech is our moderator here today. Eric, thank you for being here and hanging out with us. And if you guys have any questions as we go throughout this discussion here today, definitely tag at Modern Day Tech in the chat. Dana and I will be having our conversation and making sure like that we give you the content that you're here for. And Eric from Modern Day Tech will be taking your questions and putting them in front of us. So you can tag me, but I likely won't see it. It will be much better if you just tag Eric, and he will take your questions that are on topic for us today, and he'll be putting them in front of us. And so after Dana and I talk through some of the content that we have here for you guys, we really do want to help you out with what you're working on with your channels and the questions that you have. Plus, you guys are great at making sure we like don't leave any gaps. Like, hey, what about this big hole you forgot to address? Right? And we're like, oh yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So make sure you guys tag Modern Day Tech with on-topic questions, and we will do our best to dive into them here in just a bit. Before we dive into this discussion, though, I want to introduce you guys to a guy named Mike. Mike and I recently did a YouTube channel consultation. He's got about a little over 2 million subscribers, and he's doing some things very well, which you don't get to 2 million subscribers just by accidentally uploading some videos and, hope for the best, right? So he's doing something very intentionally, very strategically. Still, though, we spent a good solid hour talking about some of the things he needs to do to take his channel to the next level. And Mike is here to share with you what some of those things are so that you can take some of these ideas that we talked about in our consultation and implement them on your channel. So here's a little snippet of my conversation with Mike. It's been so much fun hanging out with you, Mike, for our session. Thanks for doing this. We've talked a lot about your channel. What are like the main takeaways you're leaving with this from this call? Like the main steps you're going to do on your channel?
Number one, we cover a lot. It's kind of like a whole new world of like, oh boy, YouTube has just layers to it. That's for sure. I think in general is more storyline, more personality to not just videos, but to the entire brand, the entire channel in general. Making sure that people know what my mission is, what my story is, how they're going to be affected immediately, because you kind of forget as a YouTuber that there's so many new people coming in and you're just kind of focused on making, like, I guess that's the hard part as a YouTuber, is you're a creator. So like you're focused on making great videos, but then like you're in charge of your network, of your brand. So there would be other people at a company that's their only job, is like making sure that that mission is there. So like you forget about it as a YouTuber. So for me, it's just constantly, reminding myself that I also have to be that like branded guy, like that missionary, pretty much being that missionary of getting constantly the new people that are coming in, making sure they understand what it is that I'm doing. So that makes total sense.
Yeah. And it's easy because we just think about people who are commenting, the people who are coming back, and we start thinking that that's our community. So you're making videos for them, but then you start getting into just making videos for them. And then you're no longer making videos for first-time viewers, like people who never otherwise would click. So it's really important to keep those first-time viewers in mind. And if I could ask you to give a piece of advice to other creators, because one thing that you do really well as an educator, in my opinion, is you tell stories around things that most people don't really think about when it comes to storytelling stories. Like we talk about, I wear my shirt right now, says cheers to storytelling, right? Most creators in an educational space like you and like me, they're like, let me just show you how to assemble the food ingredients. Let me just show you how to get more clicks. And I am very much guilty of this. I have a hard time with myself, so it's not easy. But I think you do a really good job at like taking something that would normally be put this, half cup of this, and a quarter tablespoon of that, or whatever. And what's your process for going about like turning it into a story that people get engaged and start viewing? And it's not like this video that's stuck at 1,000 views like a lot of food creators. Instead, you're getting like millions on these. How do you approach the story element from an educator's perspective?
That's an interesting question, because I don't know if I feel like YouTube has turned me into a storyteller by demand almost. Because when I started out, I wasn't concerned about that at all. Maybe there was a natural storytelling element of me, but a lot of it was just having fun, doing recipes. And then, by default, it's like better have something more interesting, because there's millions of people out there making videos, or thousands of food creators, and they're going to be doing recipes, and it just gets so clogged up with basic stuff. So you have to figure out something that's going to set you apart. So I think the storytelling has just slowly gotten better, and I've learned it over time, like the hard way of making videos for 10 years. There's really no way around it. And I'm still just like, right now in my career, it's interesting you bring that up, because I feel like that storytelling has so much value to me right now. Like that's what I focus on so much, is storytelling, where I didn't do that before. So I guess like it's just working on learning how to do it, and there's no proper way, but I'm constantly just trying to figure out what makes a good story, reading about these things, learning what people relate to, what type of stories people relate to. So really it was just kind of effort and and learning and education around storytelling, because I'm not necessarily just this filmmaker who like, oh, I didn't go to school and learn how to, tell a proper story. So I'm just learning along the way.
Well, I would encourage you guys to go check out his channel. Link down in the show notes of this episode. It's Pro Home Cooks. And what I would look for is how he opens up each video, each title thumbnail, creates some tension in the brain, causes you to click like, oh, how does that work? Which one is better? I don't know. And then the opening hook will create some tension and what you do is you introduce some sort of desire. I want to learn this, or I want to see if this happens or that happens, or I don't know how to. Yeah. And then there's obstacles like, does this work? Does that work? You got to knead it the certain way. You got to add this ingredient or whatever, make sure that it's germinating, whatever. You're like, and you're teaching people how to do this along the way.
Also, another good example that you just bring up is like recipes. I mean, they tell a story to get to an end result, but is it a boring story? Like Food Network is the ultimate boring story, because I'm going to make this roast chicken and I know it's going to come out perfect every time, because that's the story of Food Network. It's been like that for their whole brand, which is everything comes out right. I've had shows like that, worked with those producers, and that's boring. So like for me, it's also been connecting to like, what is cooking? And cooking is not a boring story. You're in there, you're messing up. And, those videos have done very well for me recently. I'm putting out a video after this call on testing out this pizza maker that I have. And it's like, I just titled it, is this the best pizza maker ever? Because I'm trying to figure that out. So that right there is like, I feel like people, you got to know, is this?
Well, and the fact that you thought about the title even before you hit record is very important too. So yeah, guys, go check it out. Follow the story process, because if there's anything that's transformation is like raw ingredients to delicious food. Like a good story about character transformation. That's the ultimate transformation right there. And even you can see it on the characters on Mike's and his wife's face when they finally take a bite. You see the transformation happening. So really good storytelling there. You guys will learn a lot if you're in the education space, especially. And go check them out. And Mike, thanks for sharing your advice with us.
No problem.
You guys, this is like what we talk about. This is like not just about how do we get more keywords cranked in the right spots. This is about how do we create an emotional connection with our audience. And the way Mike's doing that is through telling stories. And so that can work even if you are a business creator, even if you are like just trying to teach people. Like he could just make, let me just assemble these ingredients, but he's going to tell a story around it, and that gets people emotionally engaged. They start rooting for things, they start loving, and they don't even start watching anymore just for the ingredients. Now they're watching for the story, captures people's imagination. So I think it's a really important skill for us to learn, way easier said than done. So go check out Mike's link down below if you want to see more about how he does that. And if you'd like to jump into a 1-hour session with me or someone on my team, we would love to spend time diving into your channel, talking about what you're working on, your goals, your roadblocks, the issues that you're facing, and help put together an action plan for you that's going to move you forward from like the next steps that you need to take to reach your goals on YouTube. You can go to videocreators.com/consulting to schedule that. Get right on our calendar today. We'd love to talk with you. Dane, what is a business creator versus a content creator? We've been kind of throwing that term around a little bit, but let's kind of make sure we're on the same page.
Right. And these definitions are not hard and fast, and with video creators, a lot of times you talk about how you can turn your YouTube channel into a business. And there's another group of people that also follow you that they have a business and they want to use YouTube to grow their business. And
Right.
of course, there's a bit of overlap in each, and each are both good in their own ways. But I sort of thought that the business creator was not getting focused on enough, and we work with so many of these types of people that I thought, maybe Tim's audience would like to hear about this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what's the difference
So,
between them?
well, I would just simply say that a business creator comes onto YouTube to promote an existing business.
Right.
They may already have a payroll, staff, and all those things, budget, whereas a content creator may start with no budget and just say, I'm a content creator. I want to create content, whether it's helpful or entertainment. And then they want to make a business out of that generally.
So it's like if you start with a business and then go to YouTube, you're this business creator. But if you just start on YouTube with like, hey, I'm going to turn this into a revenue thing, and you're kind of baking on AdSense and Patreon and brand deals and sponsorships and things like that, then you're more likely a content creator who's kind of going more after like a media company business model versus a product and services business model.
Yeah, and there's a ton of hybrids too, but I thought,
Sure.
Let's talk about businesses that come to YouTube to promote their businesses.
Yeah. So there's a lot of these people who are doing things wrong. And I know you and I both spend their time helping them overcome some of those things. What have you seen in your experience are like the top myths, the things that they believe, the mistakes they're making that they really need to address and fix to move forward with growing their channels?
Okay, so myth number one, I know you're going to like this and your audience is going to have heard this before. What you believe as a business doesn't matter. Right, Tim?
Well, it depends on what we're talking about, what we're believing. If we believe our products matter, that matters. But where are you going with it?
Well, some businesses think, well, as a business, we can help anyone under the sun. We want to just get more and more people, so it doesn't matter what we feel, what we believe, what we stand for, what are our core beliefs.
Yeah.
But in reality, particularly on YouTube, that this bond between the YouTube business creator or the channel is so much stronger. And this is something you advocate for and is a Patrick Hanlon core plank or whatever, is that when people share these common beliefs, these core values, that's really good at forming a strong, loyal customer. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, like kind of what we were just talking about with Mike, whereas like he's forming an emotional connection with people, and one of the best ways to do that is to share what you believe, because the strongest communities, online and offline, they don't revolve around common interests. They revolve around shared beliefs. And so when you state what you believe and you stand for something, you're making it possible now for other people to stand with you and link arms with you and your brand and really want to become an advocate of what you're doing. So absolutely.
Myth number two, it's all about eyeballs. So a lot of times businesses come to YouTube and they're like, well, we just need more attention. And so they say, well, let's just get eyeballs, more people watching. But in reality, the thing about YouTube is that it's somewhat of a social platform built around interest in videos, and you can pay to get people to watch your videos, but if it's the wrong people or they don't watch for very long, your channel's going to tank and your business is not going to do very well.
I talk about this. I think this comes up in almost every conversation where people are like, I want to accomplish this thing. Every consultation, I should say. I'm trying to accomplish this thing on YouTube, and they think that more exposure equals better results. But all you have to do is, I use this example, and I say, is it better to be in front of a football stadium of all the wrong people or in front of 10 of the right people? And everyone's like, well, it's better to be in front of 10 of the right people. It's like, right. So don't chase the views, chase your most ideal customer, chase that that specific person that you're going after and craft a strategy around getting that person rather than trying to get as many views as possible. And I know it's a tension is like, oh, my boss wants me to get all these many views as possible, but I'm telling him we could do this thing and get a lot of views, but it's not really the right people. They're subscribing for the wrong reason. So there is a tension. But I think what you're saying, Dane, is sacrifice eyeballs completely for the sake of being like quantity wise and for quality, being in front of the right people.
And that leads us into our next myth, number 3, the instant success paradox. So this myth is that businesses can just come into YouTube and they're like, I'm a big business, I've got more money, and we can do fancier production. We can look at how beautiful these videos are, or they can just, do really expensive ads and get lots of views and subs. You talked about this, in fact, on the most recent podcast. Just not true, right?
No, I tell this story many times with the creator. It's actually, I'll tell it real quick for anyone who hasn't heard it. They had 6 full-time people on their channel shooting in 8K Red Epic cameras in a commercial kitchen. It was a vegan channel, commercial kitchen with a paid actress who was vegan. All of these people had Hollywood television production backgrounds. They published one video very consistently every week for a year. And at the end of a year, they did a consultation with us and was like, how come we've put hundreds of thousands of dollars into this channel and our top video only has 24 views? But there's this person in his basement with a webcam getting millions. They're like, what the heck? And so, yeah, whether it's instant success paradox, or it's like I need fancier equipment, or having some production background equals success on YouTube, it's just not true. Yeah.
And I just wanted to add on top of that, because you have 3 different pillars to your types of videos, which is the discoverable videos, the community videos, and the sales videos. So even if someone comes in with a huge budget for sales and they're doing good videos, which is part of the things we help them with on VidTarget, we still advocate that they need to have a good YouTube channel, because what happens when you watch a good ad? You don't always click on the first time. You do a YouTube search, you do a Google search, and these businesses say, we're seeing a lot of traffic, Google traffic to our website or to our YouTube channel that's not coming through our ads. Well, what's happening is the ads is making people know about you, but they want to know more. So you still have to do those great community and discoverable videos on your channel.
Right. And you also need to include everything else we've already talked about, which is like the emotional engagement, knowing who your target audience is, things like that.
And the 4th myth is that views are the most important thing. And this sort of leads into the previous myth, because businesses think, I just need a ton of views to be successful. But really you need the right views. For instance, if I told you could get 1 million views tomorrow, yeah, I can do that. You can do that. We just run some ads. But then if I said, listen, is it okay if all of those views were from teenage Malaysian gamers? Which I've got nothing against Malaysian gamers. They're great.
That might be your target audience.
If you're only selling women's cosmetics into the United States, that might not be the right audience. So really, it's the type of view that matters. Myth number 5, production values are key. We sort of covered that before, that you don't need a whole production team. It's really the basic production. You can do fine. Myth number 6. Now, this is something that's very specific to businesses. Some believe, we don't need a point person for our YouTube strategy within the company. Anyone can upload a video, whatever, if we make a video, let's just have someone put it on YouTube. But in fact, that really creates a problem, because there are so many types of videos that don't work well on YouTube.
Such as
what do you think? Have you seen this, Tim?
Yeah, I've worked with a couple of different brands who have one. Sometimes they do have a point person who's in charge, but they're getting mixed signals from different departments about what their goals are and what needs to go up and what shouldn't go up. And there's not really a gatekeeper who gets to veto anything. It's all about they're just kind of more the robot than they are. And I think what you're saying is you need someone who can kind of pioneer the channel and be the gatekeeper of what goes up, what doesn't, who we're reaching here. This offers value. This doesn't. This just is a commercial. This is an hour and a half webinar that no one cares about. And that someone can say those things. And very few, even big brands that we've worked with, like Fortune 500 companies, have someone like that. They have someone in charge of it, but not someone who gets to make the ultimate calls about how do we actually grow this.
Yeah, I mean, it's somehow with video. Because it's video, it all has to, and that's my next myth, is that if it's video, it has to all live on YouTube. Well, just because someone in your company wrote a nice email doesn't mean that goes on your blog.
Right.
Just, somehow video, everything must be on YouTube. But that is one situation. And I know you don't emphasize the algorithm too much, but that is one situation where I think you upload every webinar or every live performance or whatever the thing is. This can actually really hurt you in the algorithm. So moving on to myth 8, you should upload a bad video if that's all you got, because you got to do something every week. And businesses will do this. I don't know if you know about this, but businesses will just say, well, we got to do one every week because that's what the algorithm does. And as you've said, some channels do very well just uploading once a month if it's a great video. It's more important that you upload every week because you're communicating and building a community. But if it's a bad video or something that doesn't work, it's not what you should be uploading.
Yeah, I mean, people think like just put something is better than nothing. You're like, nope, sometimes nothing is better than something, depending on what you're publishing. So yeah, it's the algorithm doesn't. I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but I feel 110% confident that the algorithm does not care how often you upload. It cares how well people respond to what you do upload, whether that be every month, every other month, 4 times a year. If it's just really solid content and people respond very favorably to it, it's gonna be surfaced. But you should be uploading not because of the algorithm, but because you're building community. Yes.
You are, and internally you're as a business, you have to do something every week if you're prioritizing it, or it'll just get to the end of the list and never get done.
Right. You're showing up for the people who are your brand advocates, and you're making it easier for more people to become brand advocates or potential customers. Like you're more opportunities to grow the know, like, and trust factors. I don't know how many people that we've worked with who are like, Tim, I've been following you for years. I've been listening, got a lot from you. And it took a few years for them to get to the point where they trust us enough that they are, or they've grown enough, or whatever the case may be, to be at the point like, I feel stuck, I'm ready to unlock growth here, and then work with us. So we show up every single week for the past 7 years now, but more 7.5 years, to help people. And yeah, so if you're only doing it 4 times a year, the people who are showing up in front of your target audience more often will be the ones who win in that regard.
Yeah, and then there's just the opposite. This is the opposite myth, is that, hey, as a business, we had all of these videos done. We sent them to the editor. Fantastic. We got them delivered on a Friday. Now let's upload all 8 videos that this editor has done, because you know what? People will see them on YouTube. Doesn't matter. It's always there. And we advocate for just the opposite, that you need a strategy. You need to have them come out over time, because what happens if people see 8 videos from you on a Friday night? Some businesses do better on weekends, some do worse. You have to know your business, but I think it's important for some businesses to post during the week. But if you get 8 videos, what happens? You go to your app and you see 8 videos from your same business. They don't love you that much. They may like 1 video a week from you, but they'll unsubscribe.
This is some tough love right here. You're saying some hard truth. Nobody loves you that much. That's going to be the featured quote of this episode.
That's fine. That's fine, because it's true. I mean, they may like your business, They may come, but they don't like you 8 videos a week good, generally. Not 8 videos.
Especially if they're all posted pretty randomly, the viewer for sure is going to feel like this is pretty random. I don't need to watch all of these. And you're especially doing yourself a disservice. Usually, like it's been my experience that people who do upload in bulk all at once like that typically aren't taking the time to do custom thumbnails and aren't thinking much about their titles either, which means like they're just really not thinking or positioning themselves for growth. And they they all kind of end up with like a similar thumbnail and similar titles, and not one of the 8 videos stands out any more than the rest. So it's just kind of like if people did want to watch content from that brand and that business and they got all 8, they were like, which one do I pick? I don't know. And then they don't pick any of them. So
yeah, YouTube is not Netflix. No one's waiting for your video in the same way they're waiting for the return of The Walking Dead or whatever show they love, or Stranger Things or whatever. And it's also not Dropbox where you just upload things willy-nilly. You need a strategy.
That's right.
And the next myth is a view is a view. And do you think most people know that any YouTube video can be made into an ad, and that you don't know as a viewer which views are coming from an ad and which aren't?
Like the consumer, like the target audience doesn't know if it's a view coming.
The general viewer, even people who are, managed channels, they may not know that views are not all made alike.
Yeah, so if you get like an ad targeted view, it's been our experience that they are not, I don't want to use the word worth, but they don't perform nearly the same way as an organic viewer does.
Yeah.
And so you can pay a lot of money and inflate a lot of views, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help your channel, depending on how you do the ads and the strategy and the goal behind it and things like that. But not all views are created equal.
And that's one of the reasons we started this company, by the way, is that it's designed to help you do targeted ads. That is, so you don't just pay for a whole bunch of stuff, but you do need to run ads to do sales videos. You don't have to, but it helps. But some people just look at like one view and say, you have to report to your boss and say, hey, look, I got 1 million views, problem solved. But a view is not a view, is what I'm saying.
Right.
There's any number of ways. And
then your boss is like, 1 million views, that's great. How many they converted? You'd be like, 0%. What are you doing wrong? Right? Like if you're ultimately going after conversions here, that's the better metric to be tracking, because I think that will be a better indicator of how well you're reaching your target audience and getting in front of the right people versus just getting a lot of random people.
Yeah. Again, my favorite gamers in Asia may not be the target audience. We love them, but they just may not be who we're selling to.
Right.
So yeah, it's, same business metrics should matter. Are you making sales? If you get a click, is it as valuable as this click? From which source? You need to be sourcing these things, and most businesses don't even think about that stuff, no matter how smart they are about their other business metrics. It's really strange when it comes to YouTube, which brings me to myth number 11, that clicking off is the goal of any YouTube video. And you would say just the opposite, even if it's paid video, right?
I don't know, paid. I mean, that could be anything, but what your goal could be there. But like everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people make their videos like with multiple goals. It's like, I want every video to get a lot of views. I want it to get a lot of subscribers. I want it to generate a lot of leads to my email list. I want it to generate sales. I want it to go big on Reddit. I want it to rank #1. I want it to get a lot of comments. I want everyone to smash some like buttons. I want to, and I'm like, hold on. Like, nowhere else in marketing world do we make that mistake of trying to make one piece of content and do 15 different things. Like, let's just make one goal. And you mentioned this earlier, Dane, our discovery community sales strategy that we usually implement with clients. The goal of the sales video is to drive traffic off of YouTube and to a website, or buy, download, register, sign up, whatever the case might be. But if it's in every video, then you'll have a hard time generating sales or generating growth on the channel and getting new people in that will then see the sales video and then take the action, because YouTube systems, search and discovery systems, really don't like surfacing content that ends the viewing session on YouTube. So if that's the goal of every video, it's going to be hard to get some traction, assuming people take you up on that offer, of course. If they don't, you can still get views. You're like, oh, this is awesome. But I'm like, well, it means your call to action at the end is not very effective. So one of those two things.
Even in a sales video, sometimes it's actually better if you want in a direct response video for them to click, but sometimes they may come to your regular YouTube channel, find out more. They may search for you. You may want to retarget them in some way, and then they're better prepared as a customer after they've seen more than one ad.
That's right. Yeah, you hit them a few times.
And here's this one. You'll love this one, Tim. Myth number 12 is tell them how great you are. My business is awesome. I sell millions of dollars every year. You should work with me because I am awesome. Look at this Ferrari behind me
that I rented for 2 hours. Quick, you got to get all our shots in.
So the thing is that with whether you're doing paid or organic, people don't care about your business. You've said this before. They care about how your business can help them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think telling people how great you are and your success is okay if you're trying to establish credibility with someone who is already a little bit more familiar with you. But I don't think it's a great, like you said, like people need to know, how can you help me first? And then I'll be more interested, are you credible about this? But if it just comes right off the bat, like it's immediately, this is what we've done, this is how famous we are, this is how popular we are, this is what then people are like, that's nice. Like, what does that mean for me? I don't know yet. So answer that question first and then use the credibility pieces after that.
Yes, you want to demonstrate how you've helped people, but just because you have a Ferrari doesn't mean you can help me. Or you can rent a Ferrari doesn't mean
that's
you can
right.
help me. Yeah. Myth number 13, you have to be cool. Hey, that's where the kids are. You have to be cool on YouTube to win. I just don't agree with that. I believe you don't have to be cool. You just have to be helpful.
I don't look at you and me, Dane. Like, I'm not that cool.
I am not cool.
You're not that cool. We're both kind of just, two middle-aged white guys trying to help people the best that we can, and hopefully is benefiting and changing a lot of people's lives. And I think that's actually what people care about more, is like, what's the heart, the belief, the message, the thing that you're going after here, more so than like, is that person got the fancy clothes and the cars and the skateboard or whatever. I don't know. It's cool. They were cool back in the 80s when I was a kid. I don't know if they still are today.
Whatever the car. I have one, as we're going to take some questions, right?
Yeah. Let's jump into those. But you got one more you want to hit?
A bonus myth is that it costs a lot right away. And that is, I think it's wrong, that you don't have to allocate a big budget and do or die right away on YouTube, whether you're doing the organic, building a YouTube channel, or if you are, if you're doing paid, it's better to grow gradually than all at once, because you try to grow all at once, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to waste a lot of budget.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest money wasters there is just diving into that stuff without having a plan or a strategy or just measuring the wrong things. So cool. Well, we got some questions for you, Dane. The first one is actually a super chat. Thank you. Smart drive test. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Dan. Great information about a business with YouTube. With your help, we've built a great community that grows new drivers past their license test. We're in the process of reinventing. Thanks. Cheers, Rick. Awesome. I guess that wasn't a question. That was just like, thank you for your help, and you're welcome. Thank you for being a part of our community here with us, Rick.
So that's great. So this person has a channel that they help people get their driver's license, and you taught them how to do that.
Yeah, I remember having a consultation with him like 2 years ago. You have to remind me, Rick. it was a year or two ago. I don't remember, but I remember we did talk and we were working through that, helping him grow that business with his YouTube channel. So
you are literally saving the lives from poorly driving teen drivers, Tim.
Well, my kids are going to get there one day, so we got to make it safe now.
We need to help them start watching this channel right away.
Yeah. You do it. Another super chat says, "What's up,
John?
Dane? You're the best. Love you, brother."
Hello, John.
John loves you. He says you're the best. I don't know. I guess that makes me second best, which is fine. I can take
best
that
on this channel.
You can be the best on this channel. My ego can take that, no problem. In fact, it would kind of be a relief. It'll be a little less pressure. Eugene C. Papa. Hey, man, good to see you. I think we both know Eugene. Dane, how is VidTarget different from other companies that offer the same type of service? Some of these are on deals right now as lifetime deal equals you pay once and have it for life. So you want to give a pitch for VidTarget? How does it differ?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, so it's really quite simple. What VidTarget does is you can target specific video placements. So for instance, if you only wanted to target videos where people were learning how to drive, for instance, we create a list for you and you upload that as placements. That's one thing YouTube doesn't help you do quite as well, and we're trying to fill a gap there. So you have this huge list of placements of videos that are just targeting that. Or you can target a channel. So I just want to target channels about people teaching how to drive, or your keywords, which is a little bit easier to do on YouTube, but we just make it easy, take that time away, make it simple for you. You spend about 10, 15 minutes and you've got your list, and you can update it when new videos come out once a month. You can come back and update it, and that's what we do. And I'd love for the questioner to message me directly and help me build the product, make it better.
Yeah. DIY Gene asks, is it a mistake to broaden your niche audience so that you broaden your reach? I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, Dane, with being in front of the right people versus being in front of a lot of people. How would you answer that question? Broadening.
I would go to something you talk about all the time, is what did they believe? For instance, if they were believed that the joy of birthday cakes was that's what they think is everyone should have a birthday cake, and that's what brings joy, and that's core to us. But if they really thought that we believe in baking and people should have the right types of wheat and whatever, if that was really core, that's what makes people happy, is a morning piece of bread or all these other things, then they should expand. But if they don't, then don't expand. Did what I say make sense at all?
I think so. I think what you're saying is, like, if broadening your audience, your niche, makes sense in the regard that, like, those are still the people you're trying to reach, then great. Personally, to kind of give you guys
like to talk about.
Yeah, give me the opposite example of this, DIY Gene, is what I'm currently doing on video creators. Well, I'm experimenting with, let me put it that way. I think I have a video coming out here in a few weeks, so I'll go into this in more in depth. But back when we started video creators in 2007, no, not 2007, 2000, I started YouTube 2006, but we started video creators in 2013, yeah. So 7 years ago, that's what I was going for. We were just going after people who are trying to grow their YouTube audience and focusing primarily on that hobby creator, as we called it then. Now there's not really a such thing as a hobby creator. It's like everyone has like some sort of revenue goal one way or another, whether you're growing a business or you're growing a media company, part of that's on YouTube or whatever. And so we've had to change who our target audience is and how we talk to that person over the years as our audience has grown and evolved. And now we're doing another experiment. Like, should we go even more specific? And those YouTube creators who have 10,000 plus subscribers who are looking to, how do I grow I've got an audience now. I'm getting people to subscribe and consume for free. Now, how do I get them to take that next level interaction with us, which would be to make a transaction of some kind? How do I grow a business around this audience that I have? So we're getting even more specific than what Dane's addressing here, which is the people who have a business and are now trying to grow on YouTube. We're focusing, like, can we serve that person who has grown on YouTube and now needs to figure out how to build a business? So it's getting more and more and more specific. So yes, we're getting more specific and more niche down, but that's not a mistake. It means our views are going to go down. It's a much smaller audience than the people who are like, how do I press record on my camera and how do I make upload my first thumbnail? Like, those will get the most amount of traction from a view perspective. But going back to what we said before, we want to be in front of the right people. So we're making content for that person. And we expect our views to go down. We expect our downloads to go down. But we're hoping to see our average view durations go up and our engagements on call to actions go up as we see that we're more specifically hitting the right person. So whether DIY Gene, you're going to go broader to get a broader reach, or you're going to niche down, there's not a right or a wrong there. I think the principle we're coming back to is make sure you're getting in front of the right people. And if you go really narrow, that might be a small group, but that's fine. Like, I love serving those people because I can help those people with 10,000 plus subscribers. If I can help each of them reach 1 million people a month on their channel, and our goal is by 2025 to work with 10,000, what we call life changers, with creators who have like a mission behind what they're doing. That's over 10 billion touch points every single month that people will have with a message that could potentially impact their lives. So that's our goal, not necessarily to have the biggest YouTube education channel on the platform, anything like that. So it's not a mistake either way. It's just go one way or the other, but go intentionally and strategically rather than just like, I just want more views, so let me try to broaden my reach. Like, that could be a better way of reaching no one specifically as well. So that's not necessarily the right direction to go. I think I just beat that one to death. So,
but I want to add that it does not change. It didn't really change your core mission of your channel, which was to help people, do video better and change lives for the better. And you're still doing that. You're just doing a different flavor of that.
Right. Russell Beck asks, I have a business question. How much does YouTube take from an advertising company's ads in percentage?
In advertising, do you think
they
that
take 100% of it, don't they? Like your entire ad spend.
Do you think that they're talking about monetization rates? Like, are they talking from the creator's perspective?
I'm not sure. Let's answer both real quick. So, if you are the creator, it typically, look at your agreement, but it's typically a 45-55% split, 55 to you, 45% to YouTube. But if you're talking about how much does YouTube take from an advertising's ads in percentage, they take 100% of whatever the company pays them. And then if some of those ads then surface on your content, then YouTube will give you 55% of that ad revenue, assuming you don't have any other copyright holders or MCNs or other types of hands that would be getting a cut of that revenue too. Did I answer that one, you think?
I think so.
All right. Tommy Bernhard, thank you for the super chat. He says, how would you target an audience for a live talk show like Howard Sternish type material? No real keywords, just a live show about our lives. Thanks.
I think that this is when they say target, I think this is an ad question.
That's what I think. Yeah. How would you do that?
I think it's very difficult to do ads that target live shows. And we really are not advocating too much paid media. And you and I have had conversations with this over long periods of time that trying to use paid media to amplify your views is a fraught tactic. There are some very, very niche methods, but usually that's not really the way to go.
Yeah. So if I would not do that. If you're talking about organic content, Tommy, how would you target an audience like that? I think it really comes down to, this is really broad, but for the sake of our conversation here, I would just be like, what story does, like, really know who your target audience is. Not like anyone who likes Howard Stern, but like get it. Like, this is a person, there's an age, who's living this type of lifestyle with this type of story, has these types of problems, these types of hopes and dreams, like all that. Get to know this person, and then what stories would that person would resonate most with that person, and then think of the title and thumbnail that person would click and watch. That really teases the story, creates a lot of tension in the brain, makes them think like, what happens? That's what Howard Stern does a lot. It's like a lot of like, that for real? Or how did that work? Or is like, that can't be true or whatever, right? And that gets them to click and then go and tell those stories after you to kind of determine what the title and thumbnail will be of the story that's being pitched for someone in that target audience. So hope that helps. String Player Gamer, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hey, Tim and Dane, I love your teachings. I've been struggling to regain momentum in YouTube. 145,000 subs, but it feels like 10. I do 10,000. I do pure music videos. What do you think, Dane? It's a little bit off topic, but what would you say here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of, I really have more questions than answers. And the question is, does that mean they are doing covers? Does that mean they're doing their own music? Are they teaching music? What is their goal? Where did they come from when they, did they have like 145,000 subs that were all for one video that wasn't theirs? I don't really have anything to add on that.
Yeah, I think what I would say without looking at your channel is that it's probably unclear what the value is and who the value is for. So if it's just pure music videos, you're in a pretty crowded space, and you're going to need to stand out not by making better music videos, whatever better means, but by creating a brand that resonates with people, and people like, oh, I love that person's story. I love their struggles. I connect with that person, thus I like their music. So it's going back to those primal branding elements that we didn't talk about here, but check out the book Primal Branding by Patrick Hanlon, and I think that will help you a lot. Got a follow up here real quick from Eugene C. Papa. Hey, I read on Google website that they pay the creator channel 68% of what the advertiser is paying. Is that 68% or 55%? It does vary from channel to channel, and not significantly. Most are at the 45-55 split, but there are different channels who could be in like YouTube's, I'm drawing a blank, Google Preferred, that would have a different agreement, different revenue split agreement with YouTube, different pay rates there. So there are different types of tiers. And if you're with an MCN, then that would be different because they're managing the ads for you in that regard. But so that's why it's the best. Just look at your contract and your with your ad with AdSense. But most of the time it's 45-55. Is that your understanding, Dane?
Yeah, but Tim will take you one more. We'll talk about what you always talk about is, why spend most of your time worrying about ads? Why don't you make your own product? Why don't you make an ebook or a course or something? And this is what you advocate, Tim, and get 100%.
Yeah, whether we actually just switched this quarter, is our first quarter as a business. We are no longer relying on revenue outside our core products. So our core products.
You're doing ads still, no?
Well, yeah, we'll take it, but okay. I am never banking on it. Like I'm not including it in part of our revenue reports anymore because I don't control it. It's just kind of a passive weather, and that would include things like affiliate revenue, AdSense revenue, sponsorships and brand deal revenue, speaking gigs revenue. And any of those types of things.
You did your book right from the start when you started your channel. I recall it was almost right from the beginning. You said, I'm going to sell a book.
Yeah, I made a mistake with my blog prior to starting Video Creators as I made everything free because I wanted to help people. I had a full-time job. I didn't need to charge for it. I just wanted to help people to giving all for free. And then I realized two things. One, giving things for free, people, if you give it to them for free, they don't value it as much. They don't actually take the time to dive into it. But if you charge people, then they're more likely to commit to the process and actually get the results that they want, which now you're actually helping people better. And two, like three, I don't know the number on, but it was, I know I needed to make this sustainable. I couldn't just give as much as I was giving to my other project before, Video Creators, as much and be able to make it sustainable long term. It just wasn't working out. I couldn't do it with the family and things like that. So I started actually crowdfunding that because I wanted to test my ideas first, and like I don't want to make this if no one's going to buy it. So coming from publishing world, where I published a few books in my previous niche with youth and family work, that they gave me an advance up front, and I thought this time, like, I don't want to do the publishing route. I want to self-publish, but let me get my quote unquote advance from my audience and see if they'll buy this. So let me test if the sale will work before I put all the time into it and then realize it won't sell. So I did a crowdfunding campaign, hit the goal, got my advance, wrote it, published it, and it's gone through a few iterations, but it's been our #1 seller even this day, 7 years later, 30 days from our YouTube channel.
Amazing.
Yeah, we sell like hundreds of those a month, which has been awesome. So yeah, we're just looking at our core products and services now, like that, the ones that we control, the ones that we offer, that we actually deliver, and taking anything else is just icing on the cake if and when it comes.
Can I say an aside about this podcast as a fan of this podcast?
Sure, depends what you're going to say, but go ahead.
I really so as I was an insider talking to you as you brought on Delana and Lennon, and I just love hearing them on the podcast. They are so knowledgeable and are clearly helping so many people. I just love hearing them with you talk about how you're helping people.
Yeah, well, they'll be back next week, but they're taking the day off so you and I can hang out.
They deserve it.
Thankful for.
They deserve it.
We got one more question, kind of on my last note that I just talked about, from Missouri Valley Saddlery and Outfitters. Should someone finish the 30 Days to a Better YouTube channel course before doing a paid consultation? I would say yes, because one, the course is cheaper, and two, it will, you can work through it at your own pace, and you'll get a lot more information from the course than we can cram into an hour conversation with you. I do think, and I don't say this just because it's my product or our company or anything, but I people are usually genuinely shocked and surprised how much we're able to move forward and unpack in only 1 hour, talking about their channels, like multiple light bulb moments, multiple like long lists of action steps, and people come in thinking they're going to have like need a once a week call, and they're like, it's going to take me 3 to 6 months to do all this. We're like, perfect, great, come back whenever you're ready. So I would say go through 30 Days to Better YouTube channel first if you haven't already, and any of you guys who aren't familiar with it, go to videocreators.com/30 days, and you can start that course and work through that material. Every day it will give you a training, something you need to know. It'll give you tasks that you need to do that day, action steps on your channel to move those things forward, and then links to further resources if you really want to dive in, all with the goal of optimizing and designing a channel that's positioned perfectly for growth on YouTube, optimized for more subscribers and more views. So that's most people tend to work through it. If they really dive in and work on it pretty hard, they tend to cram the 30 days into about 14 days, but you can go through it at your own pace if you'd like. So yeah, hope that answers that question. Well, Dane, if people want to find out more about you, where would they go?
They can follow me on LinkedIn, but also check out our new service at vidtarget.io, where we help you do YouTube ads simpler and cheaper, more targeted.
Cool. And just so you guys know, this is not sponsored. Dane did not pay me to be here. I asked him based on the value.
Was nice of you.
He brings every single time, so I get no commission from that whatsoever. I just think like whatever Dane does is something worth checking out. So you guys check it out.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's a link to that in the show notes if you guys who are listening to the podcast want to catch up on that. Thank you, Eric, from Modern Day Tech, for moderating all this. And I'm sure you guys got his hands cramping up with trying to keep all your questions in front of us. But really appreciate each of you guys hanging out. If you are in the podience, Dane, as I've listened to you, what do you think about me? As a little parenthetical note, real quick. Podience, unprofessional or funny and humorous or whatever?
You've been asking this for
I
a
know.
long
I keep
time.
getting mixed signals.
I think it's funny. And knowing how many kids you had in diapers for a long time, potty was probably on your mind for a while, but I am not a fan of the word podience.
Well, Dane is not in the podience, but if any of you guys are, you can join us every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern time at youtube.com/video creators, where we do live stream these, and we'd love to answer your questions and get to know you. And you get to join a whole chat of other people who are hanging out with us and answering each other's questions and helping each other out while we go through this. So we'd love to see you guys if you want to come hang out with us. So Dane, thank you for sharing your advice and experience with us here. And we will see the rest of you guys next time for another Video Creators podcast episode. See you guys next week. Bye.